chosen ones, the God who orchestrated the stars, who painted oceans and whispered life into your first breath, placed you exactly where you are through your mother. Not by accident, not by chance, but with divine precision. Every struggle you thought was random. Every ache you believed was personal. Every moment you felt unseen. It was part of a larger plan you are only now beginning to glimpse. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. I need you to hear this clearly. Your mother is not the obstacle. She is the doorway. Not the problem, but the reason your spirit is rising now. Every frustration, every tear, every shadowed memory, God used them to shape you into someone who can carry a light the world has never seen. Many of us were raised in homes where love was fragmented, where tenderness was rare and safety was conditional. And yes, that leaves marks. It leaves a child learning to stay small, to hide, to survive in silence. But hear me, you were never meant to live there forever. You were never meant to remain folded into someone else's limitations. You were being trained in ways only heaven understands, for a purpose far greater than comfort. Think about it. The instincts you honed as a child, sensing tension before words were spoken, protecting yourself from storms you didn't cause, feeling the moods of a room like currents in the wind. None of these were accidents. They were gifts disguised as survival. And now, as an adult, they are awakening into spiritual discernment, into prophetic insight, into the intuition that sets you apart. The question is not what broke you. The question is what your mother's story prepared you to carry. What seeds her struggles planted in you that are now ready to bloom. God chose her not to limit you, but to give you access to a spiritual inheritance. Every limitation you felt was not a curse. It was an initiation. Every boundary she couldn't cross became a blueprint for the strength you now carry. And here's the revelation. Your mother's unfinished story is not yours to fix. But your healing, your growth, your joy, your freedom is the redemption she never knew how to reach. That is why the ache inside you has always felt larger than your experiences. That longing, that hunger, that quiet whisper for something deeper. It was never evidence of brokenness. It was evidence of destiny calling. Hear me clearly. The love that flickered, the words that weren't spoken, the gestures that didn't arrive, they did not define your worth. They defined your training ground. The world tried to teach you survival. Heaven was teaching you prophecy. And the child who learned to disappear inside their household, who learned to dim their voice to protect another, is now being invited to rise fully into their identity. The transformation begins with recognition. You are beginning to recognize that your sensitivity, your empathy, your uncanny ability to feel more than most was not a flaw. It was preparation. Preparation for a season where your perception is a weapon, your heart is a compass, and your voice carries weight beyond measure. And this recognition doesn't arrive like an announcement. It slips in while you're living. In the moments you don't explain yourself, in the moments you let silence answer for you, in the moments you feel the old instinct to make yourself smaller, and something in you refuses. These choices don't feel dramatic, but they are decisive. They are the invisible framework of a self that no longer collapses inward. Chosen one, this is where many stumble. They carry guilt for wanting joy. They carry shame for outgrowing environments. They carry fear of eclipsing those who came before them. But heaven is speaking. Your joy does not dishonor her. Your growth does not betray her. Your freedom does not abandon her. It fulfills her story in ways she never could. Every silent lesson she taught, every unspoken boundary, every shadowed corner of your childhood, these are now the raw material of your ascension. You are not becoming your mother. You are becoming who God always intended you to be. A vessel of healing, a spark of restoration, a living testament that what once seemed like limitation was actually liberation waiting to unfold. And the shift has already begun. Notice the subtle ways your perception is changing. Notice how you no longer react the same way to old triggers. Notice how your heart is beginning to hold space for truth, not just survival. This is the quiet evidence that God is rewriting your story from the inside out. Chosen one, your mother is the key, not the lock. Take a breath. Let that truth settle. The awakening has already begun. There comes a moment when the soul stops asking why and starts understanding what now. And this is that moment for you. Because once you recognize that your mother was the passage, not the prison, something shifts internally. You stop arguing with your past. You stop rehearsing old pain. You stop measuring your worth against what you did or didn't receive. And instead, you begin to stand in the quiet authority of someone who understands that their life was not delayed. It was layered. You were not late. You were being fortified. There are strengths inside you that only emerge after long endurance. Not the loud kind, not the performative kind, but the kind that remains steady when others panic. The kind that knows when to speak and when silence carries more power. The kind that doesn't need permission to exist fully. And with that strength comes a new calibration. You are starting to sense the difference between what feels familiar and what feels true. You are noticing how often you mistook endurance for alignment. And now, even when truth costs you comfort, something deeper in you recognizes it as home. This is why you are noticing that separation lately. Not from people alone, but from patterns, from emotional reflexes, from identities you once wore to stay safe. You are no longer emotionally negotiating for space, you are occupying it. And that can feel unfamiliar, even lonely, because when someone has lived their entire life calibrated to others, to moods, to needs, to expectations, choosing themselves can feel like rebellion. But it is not rebellion, it is alignment. God is not asking you to dishonor your mother. God is asking you to stop shrinking yourself in her name. There is a sacred difference. Honor does not mean self-erasure. Love does not mean self-abandonment. Gratitude does not mean remaining confined. You can acknowledge where you came from without living there. And here is something many never realize. When one soul heals, an entire lineage exhales. The courage you are showing now to feel, to choose differently, to step forward without apology, it sends ripples backward and forward in time. You are not breaking the chain with anger. You are dissolving it with awareness. This is why resistance may be showing up around you. People sensing change often try to anchor you to the version of yourself that was easier to manage. They may remind you of who you used to be. They may question your certainty. They may interpret your calm as distance, but listen carefully. Clarity always unsettles those who benefited from your confusion. Do not interpret resistance as a sign you are wrong. It is often confirmation that you are no longer available for old roles. And chosen one, something else is happening beneath the surface. Something quieter, but more powerful. You learned patience before most learn confidence. You learned awareness before most learn expression. You learned depth long before direction ever revealed itself. Now those qualities are reorganizing into leadership, not over others, but over yourself. And leadership of the self is the rarest kind. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are recognizing that you already were. That's why old guilt is surfacing, not to punish you, but to be released. Guilt for wanting ease, guilt for wanting joy, guilt for wanting a life that feels expansive instead of heavy. But that guilt is not divine. It is inherited, and it does not belong to the future you are stepping into. God does not reward suffering by demanding more of it. God refines suffering into wisdom and then invites rest. Rest does not mean stagnation. Rest means integration. And as this integration happens, You may notice something subtle but undeniable. Your presence is changing how others respond to you. Conversations feel different, dynamics adjust. Some connections soften, others dissolve. This is not loss. This is recalibration. You are no longer vibrating at the frequency of endurance. You are moving into resonance with truth. And truth doesn't argue. It stands. Chosen one, the story does not end with your mother. It evolves through you, not by repeating her pain, and not by rejecting her humanity, but by embodying what was never modeled, wholeness without apology. This is what it means to be the key, not to unlock the past, but to open what comes next without dragging old weight through the doorway. So move forward without forcing clarity. Let understanding catch up to action. Let your body settle into the truth before your mind demands proof. Real growth rarely announces itself. It rearranges you quietly until one day you realize you're no longer standing where you used to fold. Remain here, in yourself, in your breath, in your actual life, not the version you rehearsed for survival. And when doubt returns, because memory is persistent, anchor yourself to this. You were not preserved to live partially. You were prepared to live intact, without splitting, without apology, without retreat. So pause. Let the tension leave your shoulders. You are not late. You are not catching up. You are arriving. And this time, you are arriving as yourself. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.